I'm Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen, and today is episode 3 of Soaking Up the Sun Solar Show, where I answer questions that people have asked the internet about solar. So I hope that this video today will be very helpful for many of you who have homes and live across the United States. I'm sure, in Europe, there's a lot of adoption of solar energy, but in the States, we're still catching up to Europe. I live in the state of California, and I help homeowners across the country go solar, primarily California, but I can help those that live in other parts of our country as well. So it is another sunny day here in Northern California, and today's question that people ask, or that I'm answering, that people have asked the internet is, how do I get solar panels for my home? And that's a great question, because some people, and even to this day, I've been helping homeowners go solar for the last 6 years, and even to this day, if it's not on your radar, if it's not something you've ever even thought about or considered, you wouldn't probably know unless you go to Home Depot and you see the solar person there. You go to Costco. I know Sun runs in Costco, and they're standing there at a kiosk and asking people about their energy bill and things like that. And I'm sure they're in other locations as well, as trying to get, I guess, business, or make aware that solar is something that might work for them. But how to actually get solar panels on your rooftop is a process. And you do want to work with a solar company or a solar sales consultant. And I never in my life thought I would be a solar consultant, but here I am 6 years later, and I wanted to help people who own homes save on their energy costs, because I see the value in solar, because it does save money. And a lot of it does have to do with how you pay for your solar system. What kind, if you take out a loan, what kind of interest rate you're paying, how long the loan term is, and everything like that. There's various ways that you can pay for your solar system, but how you actually get the solar panels on your roof, that's a process. So let me walk you through real quickly the process of going solar and how you actually get the solar panels on your rooftop. So you start off with a consultation, and I'm gonna say to you, I'm a solar consultant, and if you're interested after this video or at any point in time, if you're interested in a consultation with me, you can go to my website. It's in the description of the video, JaimeGreeneTheSolarQueen.com, and you can schedule a solar appointment with me. There are lots of different ways that people get in touch with people about solar. Some will cold call you. They'll buy a list of data and they will call you and ask you about your energy bill. Some of you will go and do your research, like on YouTube. And that's an interesting comment, but cool dude Dave. Oh, there's a squirrel. Hi, little squirrel. Anyways, you might go to websites like Energy Sage or, anything about solar, and then you put in your information to get a quote, and then you get a bunch of different solar companies calling you. You may answer a Facebook ad or a YouTube ad or a Google ad, something that piques your curiosity to get you to then put in your information into the internet, and then you'll get contacted. A lot of the websites, a lot of the marketing companies are out there marketing free solar, and solar is not free, just so you know. And there are no government incentives, or there is a government incentive in that there's a federal tax credit for going solar, but the government isn't paying for all of your solar. So just know that those are not accurate. The free solar, the government county program, whatever, those are all, that there isn't anything like that. There are state renewable energy credits for certain states, like Illinois and New York are the ones that come up to the top of my head for state renewable energy credits, and that will help you pay for your solar system. Some utilities or cities and counties might have some incentives as well. So there are incentives for going solar. If there's a tax credit involved, you just have to have the tax liability either for federal and or state, if there's a state energy tax credit. But it starts there. It starts with you having a problem that you want solved. And usually the problem is expensive energy, and energy that continues to get more expensive. So that's that's the problem that you need solved. And so the solution would be solar energy, like my solar panels up there. So that's really the core of why people get solar on the house. Some people do it for the environment. Some people do it because they want to stick it to the utility company. There's very different, like many different reasons why people go solar. But to get solar panels on your roof, if you're not a DIYer, you have to go through an analysis of your energy usage. So this requires you as a homeowner to be aware of how to download your utility bills, how to get your access to your interval data if you live in California. But really, we need, as a consultant, I need to know how much energy you're using, how much you've used historically, and how much you plan to use in the future. In the near future, I would say within the first, like within a year. Because once you get a solar system installed, it's pretty much fixed there unless you add to the system. But if you are going to do this, a lot of times for homeowners, it's like a one shot at getting this done and doing it right, especially because of perhaps how they're paying for it, limited roof space, things like that. So it starts with gathering the information from your utility company and the amount of energy you have used in the last 12 months. We use 12 months because the true-ups usually are on an annual basis as well. And so we want to make sure that the solar system generates the power for you year-round. Yes, I'm Korean. I was adopted from South Korea. When people hear that I'm adopted from Korea, I always get the question if I was adopted from North or South. So yes, I am from South Korea. Are you watching from Korea, because I see the Korean characters, so let me know. So yeah, going back to that, we need to know how much usage you have used. And then once we have that, we plug it in. Thank you very much. When we know the usage, how much energy you're using, then we can put together a design, a preliminary design. Oh, you're in Pennsylvania. Do you see a lot of solar in Pennsylvania? Let me know. Pennsylvania, I have an installer in Pennsylvania, and I don't know how much solar is actually being installed on rooftops there. But once we have the energy usage, we understand your roof type and age, whether or not we can install on it. There's an electrical component too. I won't get into that, but your house needs, the electrical panel needs to be big enough to take the solar backfeed. Because believe it or not, even though it's creating energy, if it's excess energy, it needs to have enough amperage in your main panel to take the backfeed of the power. That's quite technical, but that's okay. So once we know the roof, the electrical, all that is good to go, and you like the design of the solar panel layout, if you need a battery, that's another thing that needs to be discussed and put into a solar proposal. So once we've gathered all the information, we understand how you're going to pay for the solar, we confirm that you're on title of the home. Like, these are little things that matter because this is all permitted work. And if you live in an HOA may have limitations, or you might have to get the architectural design signed off by the HOA before you can proceed with getting the solar panels on. And they might require the homeowner or the installer to paint the conduit, which the conduit is the metal. It's the metal that, the conduit is, you can see it maybe right there, the metal that goes across, that is conduit. And conduit may have to be painted the color of the house if the conduit runs down the side of the house. It may need to be painted the color, oh, thank you. You're so nice. You may have to paint the conduit the color of the roof shingles so that it's it's not a distraction to the neighborhood, because HOAs, some of the HOAs, they want all the homes to look a certain way. So HOA architectural review has to sign off on the plan set. So once you sign the solar contract, you secure the funding, whether you're paying cash, getting a loan, or you're getting a lease, we have to go through that process as well. Once all of that is done, then it gets submitted to the installer to then go and schedule a site survey, which they send out someone to measure the roof, make sure the roof condition is good. They chalk out where the panels can go. They check the electrical, they check the attics, they check all the things. So then they take all these pictures and they do an analysis, and then they go back. The engineering, I am a happily married woman with 3 kids. Okay, so then going back to the solar process to get the this is all has to happen before we get the solar panels on the rooftop. The engineer department's going to, electrical and structural and everything, they're going to go through and they're going to make sure that the solar panels can go on the house. They're going to check the production, make sure that they meet what the the solar agreement says. And then they issue like a scope of work to the solar consultant to confirm and make sure if there was anything missed, if there's anything that needs to be done to get the solar system on the house. If anything was missed by the solar consultant, then the solar consultant has to have that conversation with the homeowner. Once everything like that gets approved and thumbs up or the green light to go forward, then they're going to, the solar company is going to request, submit the plan set to the AHJ, which is the authority having jurisdiction, or the building department for your city or county, to get the permits to install the solar and the battery if you get a battery. Once the permits are in hand and they have all the equipment ready to go, they'll call you and they'll schedule the solar installation with you. The installation, depending on the size and the complexity, my roof line is very simple, but there are times when there's multiple roof arrays that a solar system is going to be installed on. Sometimes there are attic runs, meaning that conduit that I showed you, that goes through the attic and not on top of the roof. So some people don't want to see conduit on, for the solar system. It will look like the solar panels are just kind of sitting on the roof. So the installation itself can take a day or two. Sometimes I've had projects go for 3 days. I've had projects that there's a hiccup and it takes more days than that to do the installation, or they have to come back to install the batteries, things like that. So, but generally speaking, it's a day or two for installation, and that's when the solar panels get on your rooftop. But it doesn't stop there. When the solar panels are on the rooftop, after it's installed, homeowners usually get really anxious and they really want to use the solar energy right away, but they have to go through a final inspection. And depending on if they're getting electrical upgrades, things like that, they may have to go through a series of final inspections. Usually if there's electrical work that happens before the solar system's done, I've seen it done in reverse, but not very often. But if there's electrical upgrades or if there's re-roofing happening, those are separate permits that the installer has to pull to then have completed, that then has to be finalized. But once a solar system is finalized and signed off, then it can go to the utility company for interconnection. And after you get interconnection is when then you're officially solar powered. So Rob, hi Rob, do you have a video that discusses compatibility with a Tesla Powerwall 2 versus a Powerwall 3? My installer didn't know that you can't add a Powerwall 3 to an existing Powerwall 2 system. I would agree with that. They would have to be 2 separate systems. You can't stack a Powerwall 3 onto a Powerwall 2 because they have different gateways. It's totally different electronics and electrical. They're not compatible. So you'd have to have a standalone Powerwall 3 added with another gateway to your electrical panel. But I'm not a battery installer, so I don't know the intricacies of the electrical work that would have to happen. but logically, the two are separate components, so they cannot be added together. So, and even when you're adding, like I had a homeowner who had solar already on the rooftop, had 2 power walls. They were adding more solar, and the batteries weren't, they got, I don't remember if they got another battery. I don't think they got another battery. I think they were okay. They just needed more electricity generated because he was running an in-home, like he was running a bakery out of his home. He's a phenomenal baker, like makes incredible food. But he was had a home-based business, and he was using, his true up was a lot. So you already had the batteries, but the second system that we added on didn't include a battery, but we did have to upgrade the solar or the service panel because there was not enough back feed. So that being said, your installer, yeah, it's 2 separate batteries. The gateways are different. The inverters are different. So they're completely separate systems. I hope that answers your question. Let me know if I can be clearer on that. So to get to solar, you have to, you know, go backwards again. You have to have a solar consultation. A lot of installers use a model where they work with independent solar consultants like myself. There are other solar companies that are set up where it's all, you know, in-house. They do everything in-house, and it's totally up to you, your preference of how you want to go about getting solar. So I created this YouTube channel to provide value and knowledge and education and experience, because I have been doing this for several years now. And so I want to create this series and answer these questions, because these are the questions that happen or come up all the time on the internet. And even when I meet with homeowners, they're like, I didn't even know where to start. I just started Googling. That's another way. So it all starts with you as a homeowner getting to that point where you're fed up with your electricity costs, and then finally making, you know, changing over to solar, because that's the only way you're going to escape the utility company, is by going solar. And when you go solar, these solar systems are going to generate power for my home for the next 25 plus years. So the way that we look at the value of the energy in the system for our home is we take what we anticipate the solar system to generate for the next 25 years, divide it by the net cost of the system. So when you sign a solar contract, if you purchase it, you're paying the gross price, obviously. And then if you qualify for the tax credits, you then can take that, put it towards your solar costs, and then you come up with your net costs. You take the net costs and you divide it up by the amount of energy you anticipate the solar system to generate. And you should always ask your solar consultant. They should be able to give you a rough general idea of what that energy is going to cost or generate for you for 25 years, and then you divide it, and that gives you your levelized cost per kilowatt hour. And it's like locking in gas for your car for $1 a gallon. When I started driving a car, I think it was 85 cents a gallon. So that's going to tell you how old I am. But 85 cents a gallon. I live in California now, and it's $6 a gallon. You would lock in the $1 a gallon if you could, right? So that's the same idea in the concept with solar. And even if it means you're saving, say the solar saves you, you know, instead of paying the utility company, your payments towards your solar system saves you $600 to $1,000 for the year. That's still, you're still saving money, and the energy, your home doesn't care where the energy comes from. So I hope that this video answered the question, how to get solar panels for my home. And this is the way. There's a process, and it's a construction project at the end of the day, because there is structural, there's electrical, there's building permits involved, and you want to make sure that your solar installer that you choose to work with, or the solar consultant that you choose to work with, is aligned with a solid contractor that's going to do a great job on your rooftop, because you don't want leaks, you don't want anything electrical happening, you want it all done right. So I align myself with the right installer. So make sure that you go to the description in this video if you want to set up a solar consultation. You can go to my website, and on my website there's actually a map of all the states that I can serve. And so if you live in that state, reach out to me and we can have a solar consultation. I just met with a homeowner in Ohio. Someone from Illinois reached out to me through Facebook actually. So we're gonna have that conversation so I can help a lot of you. You don't have to live in California, but California happens to be the most expensive utility rates in the nation. And so there's a bigger savings, bigger percentage of savings on energy costs. So that's that. Let me know if you have any questions and comments below. Thank you for all your nice little comments that you had for me. Mooduk TV and Rob, thanks for your question. I hope I answered your question. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found value in this content, and consider subscribing to my channel so I know that you like this content and you want more. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much. Have a great one.